What's up everybody, how you doing today? And welcome to the first video of my channel. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself first. My name is Rodrigo, I'm from Brazil, and I'm a die-hard NBA and NFL fan. As you could probably guess, my favorite teams are the Washington Wizards and the Kansas City Chiefs, and I plan to bring in some sports content here. For those of you who came to this video, I'd like to say thank you. Your support would be awesome, and as I'm not a native speaker, I would love to receive any advice or criticism related to my pronunciation. It will help a ton. If you like the content, make sure to leave a like and comment, and if you want to keep supporting this idea, you could subscribe as well. So, the first video idea I'm gonna bring to the channel is the top 100 NBA players. I'd like to emphasize that it's not related to only the 2019-2020 season, so we're gonna have some guys that didn't play the season at all. I know it is a very personal topic, and if you disagree about something, feel free to make your point respectfully on the comment section, but I'm always gonna explain my choices for all players that made the list. In order for it not to be very long and exhaustive, I'm gonna split it between 5 videos, so this first one is gonna be between the 100th player and the 81st, so let's hop into it. So here's some guys that just missed the cut, or if you prefer, these are my honorable mentions. From all those players here, I'd like to highlight a few. Mike Conley would have definitely made this list a year ago, but his poor play this season made him fall drastically. He's such a cool guy and a locker room presence, but his inefficient play this season with the Jazz made him fall out of the top 100. Tim Hardaway Jr. has thrived this season under Rick Carlisle's Mavericks offensive scheme, which has been the best in the league. He's been averaging almost 16 points per game so far this season. Eric Gordon is a guy I personally enjoy watching. The 2017 Sixth Man of the Year award winner provides some good help on offense to the James Harden-led Rockets. Davis Bertans, the Latvian laser, is one of the best three-point shooters in the league and is an amazing floor spacing presence to a struggling Wizards team. And finally, the guy that was the toughest to leave off the final list is Marc Gasol. The Memphis Grizzlies legend and current NBA champion with the Raptors had somewhat of a downfall year, mostly due to health issues. So now, let's move on to the list itself. Coming in at the 100th spot, we have Norman Powell, who's enjoying a breakout season with Toronto, averaging almost 16.5 points per game. He was an important piece for the championship-winning Raptors coming off the bench, and if this list was only about the 2019 to 2020 season, he would surely be higher on it. At number 99, we have PJ Tucker, the center for the small ball Rockets team. His stats aren't the most eye-popping in the world, with averages of 7 points and 7 rebounds, but the intangibles he brings to the table, especially with his hustle and his corner threes, give him a spot in this list. Now coming in at number 98, we have Goran Dragic, the Slovenian point guard from the Miami Heat. Dragic, who was an All-Star in 2018 and also the most improved player in 2014 when playing for the Suns, is averaging around 16 points per game this season, mostly coming off the bench, which makes him an underdog in the Sixth Man of the Year award race. At the 97th spot, we have DeJounte Murray, the point guard from the San Antonio Spurs. Murray, who's still very young at age 23, has already solidified himself as one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, getting second-team All-Defense honors in the 2018 season. DeJounte missed out last season due to a torn ACL, but this year he came back strong with more than 10 points per game and with his stud play on defense. Coming in at number 96, we have Devontae Graham, point guard from the Charlotte Hornets. Devontae came under the radar for the season, having been drafted in the second round of the 2018 draft, but got his chance under head coach James Borrego and has been the best player of a talent-lacking Charlotte Hornets team, averaging 18 points and 7.5 assists per game. At the 95th position, we have Aaron Gordon from the Orlando Magic. Despite being robbed in this year's dunk contest, this season hasn't been his best, with averages of 14.5 points per game on not-so-good efficiency. Gordon's fit, alongside Jonathan Isaac in the Magic system, isn't arguably the best, as both are more suited to play the 4, so a trade involving his name could eventually happen. He hasn't paid off as expected, having been selected at number 4 in the 2014 NBA draft, and I see him as one of the most overrated players in the league. But he's still sort of young, and I think a change of scenery will be the best for him and the Magic. Coming in at number 94, we have Ricky Rubio, the Spanish point guard from the Phoenix Suns. Rubio might eventually be remembered by some NBA fans as, alongside Johnny Flynn, one of the 2 point guards drafted by the Timberwolves before Steph Curry. But in his 6-year stint with Minnesota and in his 2-year tenure with the Jazz, Rubio has definitely shown what he's capable of, being an amazing passer and a reliable scorer and defender. This season with Phoenix, he's averaging 13 points and 9 assists per game, helping Devin Booker and a young Suns core put on a fight for a playoff spot in a loaded Western Conference. At the 93rd spot on the list, we have Derek Favors, center from the New Orleans Pelicans. Favors is definitely one of the most underrated players in the league, with averages of 9.2 points per game on 62% from the field this season. He spent almost 9 seasons with the Jazz, where he was sometimes forced to play at the 4 alongside Gobert, which clearly wasn't the best fit spacing-wise. His fit at New Orleans is arguably not the best as well, as he's suited to play with another paint-dominant player in Zion Williamson, but he still was an amazing addition to the Pels. The 92nd player on this list is Caris LeVert from the Brooklyn Nets. Inconsistency is what holds LeVert from being higher, as he consistently deals with injuries and there are some games when his game simply doesn't translate. This season, he's averaging almost 18 points per game, but again, he lacks consistency entirely, and he only played more than 60 regular games once in his 4-year career. Anyways, LeVert's still young and promising, and has a big extension kicking in next season. Coming in at number 91, we have Josh Richardson, shooting guard from the Philadelphia 76ers. J-Rich was the centerpiece on the Jimmy Butler sign and trade with the Heat, as he had a great 2018-19 season in South Beach. Richardson provides trustworthy perimeter defense and three-point shooting to a Sixers team that lacks in spacing, and he is a reliable 3-and-D player, which is a high commodity on current day's NBA. At the 90th spot, we have Mitchell Robinson, the center from the New York Knicks. Before the season was suspended, Robinson had a record-setting 74% from the field, which will be the best in league history over freaking Wilt Chamberlain. He shows amazing athleticism and defensive presence, and he's arguably the best young asset on a lackluster Knicks roster. Coming in at number 89, we have Andrew Wiggins, the small forward from the Golden State Warriors. Wiggins has clearly not paid off as the first overall pick in 2014, neither to his nickname of Maple Jordan, and he's inefficient as hell, but he's still a naturally talented scorer. Wiggs' amazing start to the 2019-2020 season almost made me regain confidence in him, but he later slowed down and was traded at the deadline from the Timberwolves for D'Angelo Russell. The talent has always been there, but it seems that he doesn't put his all into the game, which is anything but unfortunate. At 88, we have Colin Sexton from the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of Sexton. He sometimes looks desperate with the ball in his hands, and I don't envision great things for his backcourt duo with Darius Garland, but he's a capable scorer anyways. He's averaging almost 21 points per game in his sophomore season and showed some flashes of a potential borderline all-star in the years to come, but my personal view on him keeps him from being higher on this list. Occupying the 87th spot is Hassan Whiteside, the center of the Portland Trail Blazers. Whiteside always seems to ball out in his contract years, and this season has been no exception to that, as he's averaging more than 16 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. Hassan is another player that I'm not a big fan of. I personally see him as a poor fundamental defender, but he's still a clear-cut top 100 player in the league. Coming in at number 86, we have Evan Fournier, the French shooting guard from the Orlando Magic. Fournier is having one hell of a season in 2020, with the 27-year-old player averaging a career high in points with 18.8 a game. And seriously, don't Google his last name, you'll surely regret it. At the 85th spot on this list, we have Marcus Morris Sr. from the Los Angeles Clippers. Morris was traded at the deadline to LA from the Knicks, where he was enjoying the best season of his career with averages of 19.5 points per game. After the trade, he has produced a shaky 9.5 points per game, but come playoff time, he will surely be a valuable asset when coming off the bench for the Clippers. And one thing I would love to see your opinion about in the comment section is of who had a better career so far, Marcus or Markieff. It's clear that the last few years have been way better for Marcus' side, but Keith was huge for Phoenix and especially for the Wizards, so I'd appreciate if you could share your opinion about who was better. That actually intrigues me. Now at number 84, we have Clint Capella, center from the Atlanta Hawks. Capella was one of the central pieces of a massive 12-player trade that took place around the season's deadline, as he headed from Houston to Atlanta. With averages of basically 14 points and 14 rebounds a game, I can't wait to see him hammer down some alley-oops thrown by Trae Young, but we will have to wait until next season, as the Hawks won't be playing at the bubble. Coming in at number 83, we have Lonzo Ball, the point guard from the New Orleans Pelicans. The small sample size we saw of him alongside Zion Williamson was enough to hype simply everyone. Lonzo is already one of the most complete passers and perimeter defenders in the league, and his ceiling is yet to be reached, especially with him working on his jump shot. This season, he's averaging more than 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists, with an improved 38% from beyond the arc. At number 82, we have Serge Ibaka, the center of the Toronto Raptors. This season, Serge has mostly guaranteed the starting spot as the Raptors center over Marc Gasol, as he's averaging a career high in points with 16 a game. He's not that Serge Ibaka from OKC, as he's averaging less than a block per game this season, but he's now a reliable three-point shooter and will be one of the biggest names on a weak free agency class this offseason. And the last guy on this video, coming in at number 81, is Brook Lopez from the Milwaukee Bucks. What I most admire on Lopez's game is the capacity he had to adapt his game into the way the NBA is shaping up, translating from a post-up heavy and offensive-oriented center to a floor spacer and a defensive stud. The Splash Mountain is having somewhat of a down year, averaging 11 points in poor efficiency from the field, but the former All-Star for the Brooklyn Nets is such an important piece to Mike Budenholzer's system that he earns his spot on the list. So that's it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching, I really hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a thumbs up and if possible subscribe, that would make my day. Until next time folks, peace.